Well, hello there. Good morning to you all. So, this now will be my review for Bleach 558, titled The Wolf's Heart. This chapter starts with a very nice color page with the great grandfather of Komamura kind of looking at the plate with Komamura's heart. Um, we also kind of see the back of a little wolf. Uh, I will assume maybe that will be Komamura when he was younger. Um, and then uh, we get to the story and to the aftermath of the battle between Dangaijo, Okujin Tengenmyo, Dangaijo and Bambieta, and it is that Bambieta in fact she was it and it very hard, and we see besides the explosion we kind of see a panel that it appears that her wall standing disappeared or was break down or something like that, but at the same time we do see also that Dangai Joe, um, we see the determination of Komamura, obviously, and he then, after this battle, he intended to go to fight Juha himself. But when he was at it, we see a panel with Komamura in front and Dangai Joe behind, and basically, Dangai Joe is disintegrating or disappearing. Um, and then we see that Komamura begins to revert back to his wolf form, and apparently his time, like I make a reference that this could happen in one of my last videos about Bleach, is that eventually he could fight Bambieta till the end. He will defeat her, but eventually that there could be a chance that his time ended or end up being used using the human metamorphosis technique, and apparently that's what happened after the fight. And he begins to revert back to his wolf form, and at the same time we see that this power basically works kind of fueled by vengeance, because through the chapter we have the panels and then we have black bars that are the thoughts of the kind of the great grandfather of Komamura, and basically he says that the driving force to their clan is the vengeance, and that Komamura simply needs to embrace this feeling. Um, and then Komamura kind of comes to the realization that he does not have much more time, uh, and apparently finally the great uh, grandfather of Komamura finally got some respect uh, to, or has some respect back for Komamura. There is a kind of a tender panel with something. Someone will say that he will be hitting Komamura hard, but to me it appears that he is kind of leaking it. So um, that was quite interesting. Then Komamura reverts basically, and he reverts not to his usual form as a big metamorphose, a big wolf into legs, but to a real wolf or a real big wolf, but more beast than human. And at the same time, we see Iba making an appearance. He kind of carries Komamura on his backs, and he says that they are going to take Juha, um, and that they are doing it for avenge the death of Captain Commander Yamamoto. Um, at the same time, near the end of the chapter, we see Bambieta still admired how could she have lost to a Shinigami. She says something that is strange, so I'm gonna quote her. So out of the five of us, I get I get taken out first. That's so messed up. So there is she is referring to his girl party, or is she referring to other four stern readers, and kinda they are the top of the, the, the stern readers. But that does not make sense because Bambieta is letter E, correct? So B, C, D, E, F. Ah, it could be that she is referring to the five topping ranking members of the Stern Readers. That could be, now that I'm making counts, except A, that is Juha, B, C, D, A, F. So until, let's say, F, accepting A, obviously, that's Juha, or if we account also Juha, A, B, C, D, E, they are the top ranking members of the Stern Readers. So this phrase kinda could allude to that fact. And that was not, so I will assume that it's not supposed that one of the top five members of the Stern Readers get taken out so quickly, apparently. Um, but then we see the girl bandy of, or the girl party of Bambieta appearing, and from what I understand of this chapter, they are going to do some strange stuff with Bambieta, either maybe killing her and take her powers, maybe. That's the punishment of the Stern Readers that were defeated. That could be, and since they are Juabach men, it will not surprise me if after one of the Stern Readers be taken down, others could kinda prey on this or her and take out their powers and add them to theirs. Maybe it's possible. And if that's the truth, it will not be so surprising. Let's say on that way. And then the chapter ends with apparently Rukia and Renji arriving at Soul Society. So that was quite strange because, okay, after all, Rukia and Renji are not in Soul Society already. But a couple chapters ago, we see Shigo going down after speaking with the royal guards. So this kind of implies that Rukia and Renji they never meet apparently Ishigo, or they never meet each other apparently, and that they were training in different parts. training with different powers. I will assume because the last time we did see Rukia and Renji, they were kind of taken into the temple of the monk of the royal guards. So Ichibei. So this kind of it's interesting. Well, we still don't know or don't see Byakuya, so I will assume that Byakuya probably is still on the royal palace, most likely. Uh, so I do wonder about it. So nonetheless, this was an interesting chapter. We see another thing that when if you see the panel where Iba is kind of carrying the wolf Komamura into his back, you kind of make a parallel with the situation at the end of the Fullbringer arc. And if you remember, when uh, the guy with the knuckles, was carrying Tsukishima on his back, there was a lot of discussion too at that time about is Tsukishima dead? He's not dead. He survived. He did not survive. But then we see that Tsukishima is in Soul Society, kind of implying that he died. So there is a parallel, and maybe I will be on the wrong here, but I will say that probably this was the last fight of Komamura, and that during the time that Iba will be carrying Komamura on his back to the palace, most likely Komamura will die. So that's I think that's what's the meaning behind this kind of repeat, this kind of repeated panel in a different form from the panel of Mo and Tsukishima, and also this chapter kind of gives the feeling that, like I did say, it's kind of a Requiem chapter to Komamura, and if you know a little, you know that Requiems are usually played at funerals, and we have the color page. It's one point. The second point is that through all the chapter we see the panels with Komamura being followed by the black uh, panels that are the thoughts of his great grandfather, kind of saying his goodbyes to Komamura. And also we have that scene that I refer, where the great grandfather of Komamura kind of leaks the art of Komamura in kind of a tender way, in kind of saying goodbye, something like that. So all this chapter, to his most infamous details, are kind of pointing out the way that most likely Komamura will die during the time he is being carried out on the backs of Iba. That's my understanding of the chapter. Obviously, this is Bleach and I could be wrong, but since this is the last arc, I think that's quite possible that Komamura will die. And I don't know if we will ever see a confirmation or a full confirmation on this or not, but that's the situation. If Komamura does die, probably at this point they would reinstate Love as captain of the Gote 13 in the end, because it kind of makes sense. Even if we already see that the squad of Chunsui is without a captain. So I do not know if uh, who will take on the spot. Maybe Rukia and Renji eventually, maybe, perhaps. uh, because if they do, Renji already has a bankai, obviously, so he is a highly candidate to become captain in the end of this war. Also, another one that could eventually become captain is Ikako because he does also possess a bankai, even if he does not want to leave Squad 11, but it's possible that he is also a candidate or a possible candidate to become captain in the future, uh, liking the idea or not liking the idea. Uh, and we don't know if Rukia will also achieve the Bankai or not. I assume that through this training in the Royal Palace, it's quite possible that Rukia will have achieved the Bankai. I think that's quite possible, and I think that in the Rio it will be deserving after all these 558 chapters of Bleach. She was always there. She was the main character also, so or co-main character. So that will be a good thing to happen to the character of Rukia. And we also don't know if the powers that Ishigo now does possess. We don't know if he will be able to return to the human world or not. Uh, because let's assume that the level of power he got, it's not possible for him to return to the human world. So he will have to remain in Soul Society, and for him to remain in Soul Society, it's very highly that he will be promoted to captain. It's quite possible. So that will be well. These are all situations to happen in the end of this, so, and I think that the end is still far away. Nonetheless, this chapter was very interesting. I like it, and if this indeed is the reckon for Komamura, I'm kinda happy because his last stand was a victory and an overwhelming victory uh, against a powerful, very powerful enemy and adversary, and one of the top five ranking members of the Stern Richters that are um, probably on the level of captains or even higher a little bit. So that was very good. And now let's see what is going to happen with Renji and Rukia on Soul Society. And also, I do wanted to see the resolve of these two cliffhangers in the next chapter. If Komamura dies or not, or if Kubo does not intend to reveal that. Um, if Bambietta died, or if Bambietta is killed by her group girl, or if they kinda replenish her with their own powers, or what's going to happen to Bambietta. So this is it. This is my review and my thoughts on this week chapter. As predictions for next week, I honestly don't know. I think that or either we go to immediately to a fight with Rukia and Renjin, and they encounter some Stern Reiters in the moment they land in Soul Society, or maybe Kubo could decide to wrap up all the fights that were happening so far, the fight with Kengdu and Toshiro and Matsumoto, the fight between Soifon and PG9, and maybe he will reveal to us if Komamura is dying or is dead or died in the process, and what the hell is going to happen to Bambieta, maybe. Or he could cut this short and go straight away to another different fight. So that's it. So hope you enjoyed this video. Stay well, peace, and see you soon.